This is an A.J. Duggar exclusive.
All right, this is award-winning journalist A.J. Duggar here with the heavyweight champion of the world, former heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. Larry Holmes. Man, I got to say, first of all, it's a pleasure to talk to you, man.
Hey, man, thanks. I'm glad to be on your show.
Yeah, great to have you. And for people that don't know much about the Easton Assassin, let me tell you some things. Now, he had 20 title defenses of the heavyweight title, the best jab in boxing, and he's really underrated, for a lot of different reasons. And I think one of them is because, Larry fought right between the eras of Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. So I think that's one reason, one of many reasons why you don't get your due. There's a lot of others, but we'll get into that later. Now, last year I had the pleasure of interviewing Joe Frazier's son Marvis twice about his book. Marvis and his friend Jamie Potter, they're good guys, great guys. And you work on a book as well, aren't you, Mr. Holmes?
Yeah, we're working on it, and Jamie Potter is doing the book. He's doing the book, and the reason why I chose him to do it is because I like the way Marvin's book read, and the guy seemed like he knows a little bit about boxing, and he really puts his mind on what he wants to do. So today I'm for it.
Cool. Have you guys got a title worked out yet?
He gave me a name, but again, it could change. But as we go along, we'll see exactly what's happening as we go along.
Okay, yeah, I have friends who are new to boxing. They would ask me, AJ, why is Larry Holmes so angry all the time? I'm like, when you read this book, you'll find that's a lot of fair reasons why. But you seem a lot more calm these days, man, because I know back in the day, you were pretty upset, HBO, stuff you saying and stuff, but I understand completely.
Well, they wanted me to not be what I were, They didn't want me to be Larry Holmes, the heavyweight champion of the world. They wanted me to be something else. And listen, I was born to be Larry Holmes, the heavyweight champion of the world. But you know what? I didn't want, nobody to put me down for my dedication and my hard work. I mean, you don't get to be heavyweight champion of the world not working hard. And then when you become the champion, they tell you you ain't nothing anyway.
Right.
So, that kind of teed me a little bit. But I'm not angry with anyone. I'm just happy, man, that I've done what I've done, and I'm still alive.
That's right, because I know I'll never be heavyweight champion with 20 title defenses. So hey, that's a blessing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now two of my favorite punches I've ever seen in the boxing ring, you either gave it or received it. Now the one you gave, that uppercut on Mike Weaver, whoo! I didn't know you could hit like that, man.
He didn't either, but uppercut is a punch that don't really knock you out, don't really hurt you, but what it does, it wakes you up and lets you know that you can get hit, and you got to really be ready for it. Mike Weaver was a tough fighter. I mean, a guy that was strong, a guy that could take a punch, and he definitely was able to give a punch, and he was a good fighter, man, So, I got a lot of respect. I had a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because, see, before that fight, I didn't think of you as a slugger until I saw you land that punch. That had to be, it looked like one of the hardest punches you ever landed on somebody.
Well, I tell you, the hardest punch that I ever fought was Earnie Shavers. And Earnie Shavers was the guy that would knock your head off. And you'll wake up sometime the next day. He was a good puncher, a good fighter. And, you can't take nothing away from these guys, man, because, everybody that I fought, they was out there to win the title. They was out there to win the heavyweight championship of the world. And, I was out there to try to keep it, But, every time you turn around, somebody's always kind of comparing you with a guy like Muhammad Ali, which was a great fighter. You can't take that away from him. A guy like Mike Weaver, you can't take that away. Mike Tyson, you can't take that away. These guys were good fighters, man. And they was out there to let you know that if you come out there not ready, you're going to get knocked out. And that's the way they fought. That's what they believe in. You got to give them a lot of respect for what they've done.
Yeah, you definitely had a bullseye on your chest, it seems like, because you were busy. You were fighting pretty often. And I'm glad you mentioned Earnie Shavers. That was a point I was going to make next, because I don't think you get enough credit in this area either, because you had a chin of granite. Because, you took a right hand from Earnie Shavers, and when you hit the ground, I thought you were dead. But you got up, and you knocked him out. You know, so what's it feel like when Earnie Shavers hit you? Like did he hit you? Like, were you unconscious briefly, or like what did it feel like?
Man, you know, listen, I tell you, you don't want to get hit by Earnie Shavers. He get hit by any of those punches that he threw. I just happened to be one of the guys that was hungry. I was out there trying to make myself be a heavyweight champion of the world. I was hungry. And you know, like I tell everybody, Earnie hit harder than a mule kick. So, you know, you go out there to fight Earnie, you better be ready. And because, you know, Earnie was ready. And, you know, and that's one of the things about him. You know, he stayed ready. If you wasn't ready, that was your fault.
Yeah, and that reminds me as well. Forgive me for bringing it up, but you know, you fought Mike Tyson at his peak, and it took him 3 knockdowns to finally keep you down. I mean, and you were older, and you know, you didn't have time to prepare for the fight like you wanted. So I mean, so even then, you know, that says a lot about how special you were, how much you could take punishment. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it was not the punishment that I was looking to take, because I don't look to take the punches. And you know, the object of the game is to hit and don't be hit. You know.
Right.
Mike Tyson was strong, and he was well put together. And, you know, he fought me at a time that I wasn't really quite ready for it. But, you know, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for myself. But he was a good fighter. And you know what? And a lot of people respect him for that. But, again, you know, he got himself put out on the wrong track. So, you know, that's the way that shit goes. But Mike Tyson was a great guy, and he have a lot of respect for me. And I think they have a lot of respect from a lot of other fighters out there too.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I was scared. Like when I saw you went to throw an uppercut, but your hand got caught in the rope, and then Tyson's coming at you with the right hand. So, oh my God, I would be scared to death if I'm trapped against the ropes and Tyson's coming at me. But yeah, that had to be a scary feeling, just knowing like those few seconds and your arms caught in the rope. It's like, man.
Mike Tyson caught me just right. You know, my hand was, like as you said, stuck in between them ropes, and I couldn't do anything about it. But you know what? You know, everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? It was meant for Mike Tyson to win that fight that day. I mean, I was off for a while, you know, not boxing for a while, but, you know, that still don't take away from what Mike Tyson did. He still was a good fighter. And, you know, somebody got to win and somebody got to lose. And that night I just lost.
Yeah, I am Mike Tyson. And I want to say also, it's amazing because you fought Jerry Cooney, Ray Mercer, Earnie Shavers. You fought all those guys. And Tyson, that's the only time you ever stopped in your whole career. That says a lot about how durable you were. And speaking of that, you used to spar with my man Joe Frazier, but you never fought with him professionally. Like, what were those sparring sessions like with Smoking Joe?
You know, fighting with Joe was, man, you know, like, to be ready at all times because he was coming at you. And Joe came at you. He came at you, and he did his job, and he had to, you know, you had to respect him for that. Joe was a good guy, man. I liked Joe. He gave me a job, gave me opportunity, and you know, that's how you learn how to fight. If you keep fighting guys that don't know nothing about the game, you know, you're not going to ever get anything out of it. Joe Frazier was a good fighter, and he's a guy that I miss already, and I think about a lot. But you know, hey, the time comes, you know, that we all have to get out of Dodge. But Joe was a great fighter.
Yeah, when you guys were trained together, was he grunts with the punches? He was like, huh, huh. You know, he was real.
Oh yeah. Joe, you have to be ready when you got in the ring with Joe. If you wasn't ready, he knocked your head off.
And a friend of mine wanted me to ask you this. A friend of mine wants to know who hit harder between Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson.
Earnie Shavers.
Between Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson, who hit harder between the two?
Frazier hit harder than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson hit pretty good, but Joe Frazier was the guy that hit you harder than any boxer out there at that time, except George Foreman. You know, there's a lot of guys who punches, but they didn't punch with the authority that George Foreman has. They didn't punch with authority, the quickness, smoothness that Joe Frazier had. You know, these guys was doing their thing, man. You know, and they did it well. Joe Frazier was doing his thing.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you about this here. I'm going to mention George Foreman here for a second. And I have an opinion on this. I have a theory. You let me know if I'm right. Now, there were several times you guys tried to fight and it never happened. But personally, in my opinion, I'm putting this out there, I believe you would have beat him because you had the chin to take his shots, you keep the jab in his face, and you wouldn't stand in front of him. You know, and I know George has said before that thinking fighters gave him problems, and Larry Holmes was a thinking fighter. So is that one of the reasons why you guys never fought? Do you think he didn't want to fight you for those technical reasons?
Well, George didn't want to fight because he wanted to make the most money I guess he could. And he didn't want to take no chances to get beat. If he's going to get beat, he wanted to get paid for it. And unfortunately, they didn't have the money to pay him. But George was a good guy. He was a good fighter. And he had a lot going for himself, man, you know. And I don't know really the main reason why he didn't want to fight. It's just that...
Okay, now let's talk about that jab you had. Now, who taught you that jab, and why was it so effective, in your opinion?
Well, I learned the flick part of it. I learned to flick it, and I thought I could get it out quicker by flicking it, which I did. And then when it comes down to throwing the power, I know I had to close it real tight, and I'll be able to get all the power that I need from it. And that's what I did, mainly. I flicked the jab. I was able to do it quickly, and it paid off for me. So, I had no problem doing it, and it worked, and it continued to work for me.
Okay, yeah, man. I noticed that. I used to always joke that when you fight against Larry Holmes, you're pretty much fighting the jab and not Larry Holmes. So yeah, you. And let me ask you this. So a lot, you know, if you had won the first Michael Spinks fight, you would have tied Rocky Marciano's 49-0. You know, undefeated record. And I know the press crucified you for saying that Rocky couldn't carry a jockstrap. What's your relationship like now with, you know, Rocky's brother Peter and the rest of Marciano's family?
I really don't know my relationship. I don't have no hard feelings towards anybody in this family or whatever, you know. Because people say things sometimes that they do regret, and they say things that you don't want to be bothered with it. And that's what I did. I said some things that I didn't hurt anybody that way. But, you know, people take it out of the wrong context, took it out of the wrong context. And, you know, just landed like that. But I got to say Marciano probably was one of the greatest fighters out there. I don't know. I've never seen him. I never was there. But I tell you, with a guy who had record like he had, you know, had to be outstanding. So, you know, you got to give me just due. And that's what I do. I give me just due.
Okay. And what was it like to spar with Muhammad Ali? Because you used to spar with him in the early 70s, right?
Yeah, I worked with Muhammad Ali. He was a great guy. I mean, he was a good guy to work with and a good guy to work for. And I had no problem doing that. And I worked with him, and I gave him my all because he was a good guy. He was a nice guy. He was a good guy to work for. And a good guy to work with. So, you know, whoever said that he wasn't, got to be crazy. Because Ali was a good guy, man. He was a great champion, and everybody loved him, and much respect from the world. So, you know, they can't talk too much bullshit about Muhammad Ali.
Okay, I agree with you on that. And also, what was your toughest fight?
Ken Norton, June 9th, 1978. Ken Norton in Las Vegas, Nevada. I won a great decision over Ken Norton. That's the highlight of my life.
You know, I was guessing you were going to mention that fight because it's grueling to look at. I get tired and exhausted just watching it. You know, what was it about Ken Norton that gave you so many, you know, problems?
Well, you know, style, pressure does it. And he had the style, he had the pressure. He went out there to do his thing. He went out there to fight. There was no prisoners being taken. And Ken Norton was a good guy, man, you know. I don't know what people think about him today, but in my mind, he's always going to be a great guy. You know, he was a great fighter. And may his soul rest in peace because the man gave his all to the game of boxing.
Okay. I'm not going to hold you too much longer. I've got a few more quick things. Now, something I noticed about you, you've been married to the same woman all these years, and I know a lot of other heavyweight champions, they couldn't do that. You know, I remember Lennox Lewis said that he waited till after he was retired to start a family because he saw what happened, you know, the women troubles with Mike Tyson and Holyfield and Ali and Jack Johnson. I just want to say, you know, I just want to give you a shout out to that because you're one of the few heavyweight champions to keep his marriage and not have any women troubles. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say that's a good thing because it rarely happens in boxing, you know?
Well, you know, marriage is what you make it, you know, and I want to make my marriage good, a good marriage, and I didn't want my kids to grow up without a father, and I wanted to be there for my wife, and I have done that. I'm still there, and I think the best thing ever happened to me because I tell you why, it settles you down. It stops a lot of the stuff that you might do if you wasn't married, you know, running out with different girls all kinds of girls, you know, stuff like that can blow your mind, man, and I didn't let it blow my mind. I just kept on doing what I had to do.
Yeah, that's a very admirable thing right there because, like I said, not too many cats could do that. And let me ask you a question here. I know about the current champion. Wladimir Klitschko is a huge guy, 6'6", long reach. How would you fight him? What would your strategy be if you were young and had to take on Wladimir Klitschko?
Well, just like I did when I fought Terry Coonan, I stay on the outside and out boxing. I use the jab, you know, and I use the jab, use the body punches, stuff like that. You know, you don't go out there and try to trade punches with a big guy like that. If you do, you got to get inside real close, so that he don't have the power to release on you. You got to get inside, and you got to get in there real close.
Okay. That's a good strategy. Hey, that's a strategy right there from one of the best to ever do it. And this is kind of random, but what kind of music do you like, man? Like, what CD's in your car right now?
If you like oldies, I like goodies. Because that's what I play, oldies but no goodies. I play the goodies, man, old time stuff. You know, I got a nightclub here in Easton, but I'm not one of those guys that, you know, criticize young people's music and stuff like that. It's just that I like the Motown stuff. I still like the Marvin Gaye and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the stuff I listen to. Yeah, I like that stuff too, man. Some music was music, you know. It was smooth, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to hold you too much longer, man. Is there anything else that you want to say about your book that's coming out? Like, are you going to do a book tour or anything like that once you guys get to the final stages?
I want to do a book tour, but I'm with Jamie that he knows exactly what we're going to do, and we just do it. You know, I like Jamie. He's a guy that looks like he's going to be doing a lot of work, good work, and I've been giving him films and stuff from me, Muhammad Ali, and other people that I fought. And, you know, he was talking about some of the things that, you know, that people don't really know about what goes on in boxing. But I think, overall, I think it's going to be a good book. I think it's going to be, matter of fact, I think it's going to be a great book. And I can't wait to see it come out.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great book because your story itself is amazing. And then Jamie putting it together, too. Oh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. That's a great recipe right there. Okay. Well, man, thank you for the interview, man. It was a great talking to you. You're one of my, I'm one of your biggest fans. You know what I'm saying? So it's a pleasure to talk to you. Not just as a journalist, but as a fan. I'm a boxing fan. I watch your fights all the time, man. So it's an honor to hear your voice on the other end of the phone.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Okay, and you got my number. If you need it, call me.
This is an A.J. Duggar exclusive.